But I think in this space, with this exhibition, Karen has allowed the works of Sue Martin, Tanya Balchumut, Sue Martin, Henrike Greilen, Frans Tolka, Mani Manoleke, James Danoop, Nina and Kate Shand to mirror and reflect on the unknown, the intricacy, the intimacy of the people.
This compound of nature and nurture is the way to understand the history of landscape painting and its modern iteration today. Because landscape painting emerges in Holland initially, and it emerges in the 1600s in the English language. So it's in the 1600s that landscape art, what we know of as the picturesque, comes into being as a genre, as a style, but also as a way of looking at the world and placing oneself inside a landscape. Because landscapes are not only there for us to appraise a natural world, it is there to suture ourselves, to connect ourselves with nature or with culture. And he's battling because why? Not because he can't see what's in front of him, but because he can't find the language to express it, because the language is inherited, is tied to English pastoral poetry. So the words are different, the language is different, there's a dryness and a desiccated, it's not something soaked, it's not like an English language, a landscape, just like in sculpture we call it.
Okay, I think the discussion is incredibly important. It's important because the artist brings their creative process to light, which helps people understand their work better. And so it gets more audience engagement, and I think very often art is a mystery. People don't necessarily understand what they're looking at, so having the artists speak about their work. Okay, so the theme of today's discussion, imprints of elsewhere, so it speaks about the inner and outer landscape. So it's about what the world leaves on us and what we leave on the world. If you have to put it into one sentence, it's the duality of experience, both in terms of how we experience life, but also what we give back to life, whether it's in the form of art or in the form of podcasting or, whatever it is we choose to do, we leave ourselves on this earth as well, as much as the earth has left itself on us.
Well, the conversation is about landscape art, painting, sculpture, multimedia, articulations of our country. How do we see our country? How do our artists see our country? What is their spirit of place? How do they locate themselves? Is there a sense of comfort, discomfort? Is there a sense in which history has played a major role in actually confusing our ability to immerse ourselves wholly or fully in the land, in what we call South Africa?
Okay, so in terms of South Africa, I wouldn't say I hate South Africa, but it's a love and hate situation because, with everything that's happening around, and we sort of like, as South Africans, we just folding our hands and waiting for Santa Claus to come, to our rescue. So, with this work entitled The Gaurat, it's more like for instance, the translation is I said that I love you. It's more like when you're in a relationship with someone and you get to a point whereby there's sort of like, the push and pull, and you're trying to understand what they're saying.
I think with sculpture, specifically these ones, using the rock and the steel, the importance shifts to the materiality, and then when I start to consider my concept behind the work, the materiality becomes like a tool to further express what I want to say. And this work it has like spiritual influences, but then also like a serenity, I guess you can almost say. So I guess the process of making these sculptures, I use steel, and then so I'm going to use the word mimic, but Ashraf told me not to use that word, but I'm going to use it. I use the steel to mimic the shape of rocks, and then I balance them on top of each other. And when you consider the composition and the spatiality and the space that forms, it gives a sense of spirituality and a sense of wonder as well. But then also with the process I use water, and I also left these ones in the rain to rust so that the texture and the color becomes more like an actual rock, and that again links with my concept of mimicking Christ.